Now, I just want to say, big spoilers here, okay? Like, I'm talking about spoilers all the way through episode 500 or something like that. So again, I would just recommend leave if you guys just want to watch this, show raw. We literally just don't want to watch any spoilers. Again, other than that, that's pretty much it. But why not talk about Ace, okay? Now, honestly, I really do like Ace, and honestly, I really did enjoy his character, but he only appeared in one arc, and I don't know anything about this character. So, other than that, he was a very loyal brother, and he was in this, crew, in Whitebeard's crew, and honestly, he was very loyal to them, too. I mean, they did a really good job literally showing you, like, how loyal he was in the Marineford arc, but other than that, Ace didn't really appear very much, and I just want to talk about it a little bit because, in my opinion, I feel like his character should have appeared more, especially him being on Whitebeard. And this could have literally been the next Goldie Roger / Whitebeard. You get what I'm saying? But brother versus brother, where how they were both rivals. Ace and Luffy could have been rivals. Other than that, when it comes with even Blackbeard, right? Blackbeard, he's still alive somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm not entirely 100% sure, but if he is still alive or something like that, it would have literally made more sense for him to stay alive and practically just try to kill off Whitebeard because this dude is a menace. But overall, when it comes with, Ace's death and all of that, I really do think it's just one of those things where it really did feel like it was just dragging on. Not like dragging on, but it kind of like, the entire story didn't really kind of like revolve around this character Ace, like in Jiraiya, for example. You look at Jiraiya, or you look at a lot of these other characters. A lot of these other characters, are pretty exceptional because when these characters die, right? Sure, they didn't appear a crazy amount. Like literally, Jiraiya died on what? I don't want to spoil it, but very early on in Naruto Shippuden. Same thing with any other character. But at the end of the day, they appeared, and we knew a lot more about these characters. But then when it comes with Ace, right, and his background and all of these awesome stuff. Now, I don't know if they're gonna explore more of his background because his death kind of gives me a vibe where they killed him off early to explore his background, and I really don't like that. Where I feel like you could have at least made him here and just at least made him, I guess, survive a little bit longer and kind of protect Luffy in a way. I also do think that Ace is kind of meant to die in such a way, but I feel like it was too early. If they literally made him die 100 episodes later or something, like Jiraiya or something, but at least he would appear constantly or something like that, it would have made the death a little bit more emotional. I also like the idea how his death was also taken too soon, and I get it, but at the same time, we don't know much about the character in the first place to even, at least for me, and this is how I see it, I don't know so much about the character Ace to the point where I would kind of feel sad about. And to be granted, when I did see the scene, I was crying. But when I mean to be sad about, I mean there's really not a lot of, I guess, emotions when it came to his character, but him being very popular. But other than that, when it comes with his death and when it comes with a lot of these things, right, he wasn't really introduced I guess a lot, right, to know his character. I mean, I will say when it came with that one arc, the crocodile arc, I loved the scene where it kind of shows a little bit of his character. The scene where he's like, yeah, you want to kill me? To that, chameleon, and the chameleon goes, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And then literally just made him his own pet. And it also kind of showed how loyal his brother is. Another thing is, when it came with the paper and how they introduced the paper in Ace, I thought there would be a little bit more of a connection with them, where they would, no matter what, they would at least try to find each other. And I would have also kind of seen where later on in the future, not in the Marineford arc, but later on in the future, they could do something like a symbolic thing that they did, where pretty much Ace is dead in a way, but later on, right, where we still have more of that emotion and a lot of that stuff, but at the end of the day, they could have used that symbolic paper, where it tells you their life and stuff like that. And I don't know, I think it would be just pretty cool to see something like this, but and just later on, instead of finding it in the next 5 seconds, where it feels like his death was also taken a little too early. And also another thing is, I do feel like his sacrifice was kind of Now, I really don't want to like put this in a really harsh way, but it really does feel like it was useless overall. I mean, at the end of the day, I like they could have done. It felt like one of those sacrifices, like Sasuke's eye, right? I don't know if you read Naruto. I'm not gonna spoil anything about that, but long story short, there we go. I kind of spoiled it, but Sasuke's eye, right? When it came with the eye, it literally just tore apart, and they just sacrificed it out of nowhere. And that's the problem when it comes with, a lot of these, sacrifices is sometimes you could like make a really good sacrifice and it can end up being bad. And the same thing vice versa. And I feel like this one was such a good death. And I think the emotional impact was so awesome. And it really did carry. But at the end of the day, I really just don't like the idea of him dying that soon. And it's not because, I developed, an emotional, I guess attachment with this character or something like that. It's just more that we just didn't see him very much. Like, it just felt very weird just watching, a brother like die right off the bat without even introducing him at all whatsoever. Like, at least Naruto kind of had, the Godfather Jiraiya, literally. At least they introduced him multiple times, right? And I get it, like, some characters are meant to die, but in such a way, I feel like, with these types of characters, they could have at least made him survive a little bit longer and just made him, I think it's more of a, I don't know, it's just made him more of like a livable character and just a lovable character, later on. Mind you, he has a lot of things, right? I mean, you really think about it, the dude, Whitebeard, right? He could have been the second place of Whitebeard, where he could have, stood, he literally could have replaced Whitebeard. Like, seriously. He could have, had a lot more emotional ties with Blackbeard, and they could have fought off and just, hopefully settle things and all of that stuff. I will say, when it comes with, Whitebeard's death, okay, again, I told you guys there's spoilers here, okay, but when it comes with Whitebeard's death, especially, I did really enjoy that. I think it was pretty awesome, especially when Blackbeard just decides to go ahead and kind of absorb his powers. But overall, when it comes with that, right, I think it was necessary, right? Where even though he wasn't, shown, you kind of felt the idea where he kind of was meant to die because they hinted out the new generation, right? Now, sometimes some characters are like this, where when it comes with Whitebeard, one moment it's like, oh my god, I'm the most strongest man. You don't see him at all until his death, right? And I think that was a very good play when it comes with him. And honestly, I do wish we saw a little bit more of his power. But overall, when it comes with him, I do generally think that was a good approach when it comes with Whitebeard. Because, it's the new generation. We need the strongest pirate to die to now fill in the gap and see, okay, who's next? And that's where Naruto, or not Naruto, I was thinking Naruto for some reason because of Boruto. But anyways, when it comes with, that's where Luffy comes in, okay? When it comes with Luffy and when it comes with all these stuff, you get it, right? Like, hey, new generation, stuff like this. And so this character wasn't there. Even though you didn't really have an emotional attachment or anything like that, it kind of showed you a symbolic reference to saying, we need to kill off this character so we can bring in the new generation. When it came to Ace, it wasn't like that at all. It was literally just like, okay, here's what we're going to do. He's supposed to die. He's supposed to have a giant impact on Luffy. Let's make him appear. Let's make him lovable, not be there. And then all of a sudden, comes back and then he dies. And it felt a little weird. And it felt like, this entire break just felt a little weird. The entire time I didn't know that Ace was going to die. The problem is, right, I really thought he would appear a lot more, right? Because it's one of those characters where it's his brother, his sibling, and they would appear a lot more. But, disappointment comes with disappointment. I really hated, the entire death scene. I really did not like it at all whatsoever. You look at Ace, you look at, I don't know, pretty much, any other character, dude. It was very, very bad written, in my opinion. I just didn't really like it. Like I said, when it comes with Whitebeard and when it comes to a lot of these other deaths, I get it, why they killed him off. But for Ace, I'm not entirely 100% sure. And I'm not making this video because I have like an emotional tie or anything like that. It's literally more of, okay, why in the world would they kill him off right off the bat if, he had more stuff to live for in such a way? And I get it, you know, like they're trying to do something where like his life was cut short and stuff like that. But keep in mind, that doesn't mean, you know, let's go ahead and kill him off right off the bat and just, you know, see where it goes. But hopefully, I do hope that this character appears more often, at least in the backstory, because I do think he might have some really interesting past, because obviously he's in one of the most strongest pirate in the world. If you're literally one of the most strongest people in the world, you must have a very interesting past, right? So obviously I am having high expectations when it comes with his past, but overall, you know, I really did think it was like killed off really soon. And other than that, let me know what you think. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.